back. In the last session, we had discussion on the concept of business environment, and we did discuss its components, which is broadly classified into two categories: the internal environment and the external environment. We also had a discussion on the differences between the internal environment of business and the external environment of business. We did discuss that internal environment comprises of certain factors and forces which can be controlled in order to achieve superior performance, which can be manipulated, which can be customized according to the changing needs, trends, and developments. On the other hand, the macro environment of business is beyond the control of an organization. So an organization has to embrace itself in order to accommodate the changes that have taken place in the external environment. So in today's class, we'll have elaborate discussion on the internal components of business environment. We will specifically focus on the first component of internal environment, that is functional areas of business. So first, let's have a look at the internal environmental factors. So as you can see here on the screen, these are the various internal factors: value system, mission and objectives, organizational structure, resources and capabilities, and finally you have the functional areas of business. So in today's session, we'll more focus on the functional areas of business and see how these functional areas of business impacts the performance and growth of a business organization. What are the different roles played by various departments within the organization, and how all these departments contribute to the growth and success of a business organization. On the other hand, the same departments can also become responsible for the failure of a business organization. So what are these departments? So therefore, to ensure the productivity and quality, organizations must have the latest technology, the latest machinery, the latest quality control systems in place. Any kind of compromise in productivity, any kind of compromise in quality may have severe consequences on the growth and success of the organization. In fact, you have seen in the market organizations that end up producing a product which is quite appealing, which becomes an overnight sensational hit amongst the customers. But unfortunately, the organization would probably not have made arrangements to meet the demand. So as a result of this, there is a possibility that even a product which is widely accepted, which has become very popular amongst the customers, may fail for a simple reason that organization does not have the capacity and capability of producing the required goods at time when it is needed. One of the examples of where the organization has failed to meet the demand is that of Mahindra's XUV 500. XUV 500 is one of the cash cows and one of the most uh, popular model of Mahindra's SUV portfolio. When this product was launched, when this car was launched, the car was instantly a hit in the market. The car became very popular, but unfortunately, Mahindra did not have sufficient production facilities, sufficient production capacity to meet the demand. As a result of this, people had to wait for a very long time to take the delivery of the car. And therefore, what happens is, because of this inefficiencies in productivity, it gives scope for some other competitor in between to launch a similar kind of a model. And if that competitor's model becomes successful, your prospect and growth for the product which initially turned out to be a successful one may go in opposite direction. So by the time Mahindra could boost its production capacity, unfortunately, few more new models came into the market. And therefore Mahindra's XUV sales were hit even though Mahindra had to scale up its production and did Mahindra come back and bounce back, but initially because of that production delay, the production lag, the sales were hit. It allowed competitors to capture some market share from Mahindra. Therefore, production department should ensure that they do not fail on the productivity end. The other aspect, as I mentioned, is quality. So quality is one of the important parameters for any product to become successful. Any kind of flaw in the design or any kind of compromise in the ingredients or any kind of inefficiency in production of the product may result in severe consequences. As you all remember what happened to Maggi a couple of years back. Maggi was banned by Government of India after it was discovered by Food Safety and Standards Authority of India that Maggi was using MSG, monosodium glucosate, in higher volumes than it is actually prescribed. So MSG can cause serious health hazards, and most of the samples collected across India had a high amount of MSG in it. As a result of this, it was decided by the court of law that Maggi would be banned. And therefore Maggi had to suffer a huge setback, and Maggi had incurred huge amount of losses. And let's keep the financial losses on the one side. The other side of the coin is the trust, the faith, which unfortunately Maggi had to lose, and it allowed other competitors to capture its market share. And therefore, with a new outlook after making necessary corrections, Maggi had to reinvent itself. Maggi had to spend a lot of money in the form of promotion, PR, publicity to gain back the lost confidence. Maggi suffered huge amount of financial losses, but it took some time for Maggi to bounce back. So therefore, production department should ensure that its quality is not compromised and productivity is always maintained. Some of the other aspects which production department has to take care includes procurement of raw material, transportation, expansion of production capacity as and when required. It has to ensure that the cost is minimum, and this can be done by minimizing the wastage, and it uses the latest plant and machinery. Another important functional area of business is marketing. In fact, certain experts are of the opinion that marketing is one of the most important functional areas in comparison with the rest of the functional areas. And the reason why they say this is because marketing is one of those departments that is responsible for generating revenue for the organization. All other departments within the organization, like production, like human resource management, like R&D, it consumes revenue, whereas marketing is one of those departments which is responsible for generating revenue. If marketing efforts are well directed, then the result is simple. The sales revenue will increase. So therefore, in order to increase the sales revenue, marketing department has to undertake Herculean task of ensuring that first that customers like the product, the customers accept the product. And that is where marketing starts even before the production starts. Even before you produce the goods, one of the important thing marketing department does is marketing research. So by doing marketing research, by gathering insights, by understanding the customer, what marketing department does is it designs a product which is based on the needs of the customer. That is the crux of the marketing. In fact, if you want me to define marketing, I would define marketing as a management process which is responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying the needs of the customers profitably. So in order to satisfy the needs of the customer profitably, in order to reach out to your customer, in order to ensure that the customer is satisfied, first you need to understand what exactly the customer wants. So if you understand their needs and wants carefully and execute your product based on those needs and wants, the chances of product failure is minimal, and the chance of product being accepted by the customer is on a very higher side. So therefore, marketing starts even before the production. And of course, marketing also has many other important functions. Marketing department is also responsible for generating sales, for creating demand. And in order to create demand, you need to take up certain communication activities. Communication activities directed towards persuading the customer. You have to influence the customer to try your product. So that is where advertisement and promotional activities play an instrumental role. So if your advertisement campaigns are strong enough, what will happen? It will attract and motivate the customers to try your product. On the other hand, if your advertisement and promotional campaigns are inefficient and weak, it may not be appealing to the customer. Marketing department is also responsible for creating strong brand name. A strong brand name in itself is one of the biggest asset for any business organization. So creating a strong name for a product is not an easy task. Strong branding requires you to deliver value to the customers for the money what they have paid. You have to ensure that the customer likes your product, the customer becomes addicted towards your product, the customer trusts your product. So you have to build loyalty. Only by creating these elements, you will be able to create a strong brand image. And once you create a strong brand name, then you can utilize that strong brand name by means of charging premium prices, something which Apple does. When we do a head-to-head comparison between Apple phones and Android phones, as you're aware, Android phones are more beneficial and features rich. They offer you more features in comparison with Apple phones. They offer you value for money. On the other hand, Apple phones are very expensive. It may not offer you as many as features as an Android phone, but still people buy Apple phone for its brand. So Apple brand represents status. It represents your symbolic status in the society. It represents value in terms of the appeal that in terms of the impression it creates, right, when you're using an Apple phone. So that is what brand can do. Brand can help you to charge premium prices. Brand can help you to create loyal customers, and therefore marketing department is also responsible for branding. So we will have more discussion on the other functional areas in the next session. So I'll see you in the next session. Till then, take care. Goodbye.